In today's video, I'm going to talk about the 3 different styles of trading. Now, whether you trade stocks, options, forex, crypto, or futures, all 3 of these types of trading are going to be one of the options when looking to get into the market. So if you're a beginner, hopefully by the end of this video, I'm going to give you an idea as to what would align better with yourself and what the approach is behind that actual style. Now, if you're experienced, maybe you're just looking to expand your playbook and you're looking to add more variety into your trading as a whole. Now, I've been trading for 9+ years and I've done a bit of everything. I first started out by scalping, then transitioned into swing trading, and I'm currently day trading. Actually, today I just made $9,000 within one day trade. Now, first off, let's start by talking about day trading. So a day trade is when you are buying and selling an asset within the same day. You could be holding that position from 5 minutes upwards of 4, 5, 6 hours, as long as you're selling it within the same day. So the trade that I took today, I was actually in from about 9:45 to about 3:55. So yes, I was in this trade for 5, 6+ hours, but I still sold it by the end of the day. Therefore, it qualified as being a day trade. Now, I want you to think about the type of person you are and maybe some of your most prominent personality traits, because some personality traits are simply going to align better with different styles of trading than others. So day trading is very fast paced and it requires you to make decisions on the fly. In most cases, I will say, based off the strategy that you're trading, that is going to vary a bit. The way that I trade, I've actually been able to remove a lot of the decision making and human emotion from the picture. But for most of you getting into the market, you're going to be able to, or have to, really make those decisions on the fly and on the go. So if you're not someone who is quite a decision maker on the fly, and you need more time to sit back and analytically look at something to make that decision and think about that for multiple hours or even days to decide whether or not you want to do something, then day trading might be a bit tough. Not the way I trade, but again, I'm just talking very openly if you're just starting out and you're doing this on your own. If you're interested though in trading with myself, in learning how I trade, I'm live every single morning. I'll send you all my trades. I will put a link in the description below to my mentorship group. Now, one of the things that I do like probably the most about day trading is the amount of control that you do have on your positions. The market is open and you can then make a decision on when you want to get in, but also when you want to get out of that trade. So if you're in a position and you see that you're up $500, you can decide to pull out of that trade and lock in a profit. And on the same hand, if you're down $500 on a trade, you can sell that trade and get out for a loss. You have this control that otherwise, if you weren't day trading and you were holding positions over the course of multiple days, well, you wouldn't have any say and you wouldn't have any control over what happens during after hours or pre-market. And there is a degree of fluctuation and volatility that you might not be comfortable with. And so that's kind of the third thing that you want to consider is when looking at your account, you might see larger fluctuations in that account value if you are day trading. You might be up 10, 20, 30% within a couple of minutes, especially if you're trading options. On the other hand, if you are one that wants to come in, you want to make a lot of money, you want to make it fast, and you want to capitalize on as many moves within the market on any given day as possible, well, being involved in the market on a daily basis, trading on a 1 or 5 or 15 minute time frame is going to give you a lot more opportunities. So day trading arguably does provide a lot more trade opportunities. It does provide a lot more volatility. Volatility can be a good thing because, with a small amount of capital, arguably you're able to make more when you have the opportunity to capture more volatile and larger moves. A couple of things to just think about there as far as day trading goes, again, based off of whether you're in forex, futures, crypto, or the stock market, you'll have different hours of trading, but for the most part, we're going to be able to manage risk better, but there is going to be a degree of stress that is going to come along with those day trades. However, there's more opportunities and potentially more upside. Now, the biggest question I probably get is, well, how long do you trade? If you're a day trader, are you sitting there at your computer all day staring at your screen? And the answer is no. There are plenty of day trading strategies that don't require any more than 15 to 30 minutes per day. Now let's talk about swing trading. One thing I really do like about swing trading is that it is slowed down and you're able to take time to think about the decisions and the trades that you want to make, to then sit back and after you've entered that trade, well, you don't have much to do. Let's be honest. You're swing trading. You're holding that trade over at least one night, if not 3, 4, 5 days, upwards of potentially weeks. And being able to sit back and relax a bit and let your trades play out, well, it's a whole lot less stressful, but it requires an enormous amount of patience to actually enter a trade and every day just continue checking in, watching that trade play out, probably slowly play out. It's very hard. What I've seen is that after working with so many traders, the level of patience in general is very low. I see that traders do not have much patience at all, especially when starting out. And that's something you're going to have to understand, is that no matter what form or style of trading you do decide to go with, you are going to have an enormous amount of patience and discipline, but especially with swing trading, a whole lot of patience. And you're probably starting to realize either style is going to offer pros, it's going to offer cons, and something that might seem great, you don't consider the downsides to why it might seem so great. So at face value, maybe day trading seems great, maybe swing trading seems great so far, but really you have to take a second, step back, and kind of analyze all of the ins and outs and the cons to the pros and pros to the cons. There's not necessarily more strategies for one style than the other, or better strategies for one style or the other. And if you're wondering why I continue to trade different styles, I'll day trade one year, I'll swing trade the next, well, it's because as traders we have to adapt to the market, and at times maybe the strategy that I'm trading from a day trading perspective works better than the swing trading strategy, and vice versa. I think typically you will find it a lot easier to swing trade around working a full-time or part-time job. I think there's just less time commitment with swing trading because, like I said, a lot of the work that you're going to do trading is done off of the market and after market hours, where you could do your research, you could plan your trade at 11 o'clock at night, and then when the market opens, you enter that trade and then you wait for that trade to play out. Whereas day trading is going to require a bit more of time commitment on your end, I think, regardless of the strategy. Now, the system that I built doesn't require my students more than 15 minutes a day, and it is a day trading strategy. And like I said, one of the downsides, unfortunately, to swing trading is going to be the exposure that you're going to have to aftermarket and pre-market moves. Because if you're trading options, you're going to be stuck in that position. You're not going to be able to get out of that trade until the market opens the next day. So when you're swing trading, just remember your position size is your stop. So whatever your position size is, you have to plan on being able to lose that entire position no matter what, because anything can happen after market or pre-market. Now, I wouldn't say it's amazing waking up and seeing that that stock that you were shorting is up 10%. That's a hard thing to deal with, I think, from a psychological perspective, is waking up every morning and checking on the positions you're in and seeing how they move during pre-market when you were sleeping. And then you know when the market opens, well, you're going to be up or down potentially a lot of money. So swing trading is going to be a bit more stressful from that perspective. Day trading, you've got the fast-paced trading. Swing trading, you have the non-control aspect of the market opening, and you just have to be ready for whatever happens when the market opens, and you have to be ready to close that trade potentially for a very big loss, because we have no control over what's happening before the market opens, and we can't get out of those trades. So you might see that, I guess, each style offers more or less to a degree of, let's say, stress. And so you kind of have to pick and choose what stress you want, because no matter what, trading is going to be stressful. I've heard an argument that swing trading is essentially going to allow you to capitalize on longer term trends, which this is true, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to make more money swing trading. If you're asking yourself, or if you want to ask me, am I able to make more money swing trading or day trading? I couldn't say. There's neither a right or a wrong answer, because it's going to be strategy dependent. Because day trades, you could capitalize on a very quick move, which would be the same equivalent percentage wise or dollar wise as far as how much you make as capitalizing on a longer term trend with a swing trade. Now, lastly but not least, let's talk about scalping. So scalping and day trading can be confused because they're both done on very short-term time frames, but there are differences. So let's talk about those. Now with day trading, you're not going to be taking any more than 1 to 3 trades per day, but with scalping, you are looking at potentially trading 10, 15, 50, 100 plus trades per day. It is going to be the most intense trading style that is going to require the most time dedication. It is probably going to be the most stressful. And it's probably what you imagine when you think of a trader. Is someone sitting there and clicking buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, because that's literally what you're doing. You're trying to scalp the market, and that means you're trying to capitalize on these smallest moves. So within a 30-minute window, maybe you would only take 1 day trade. But within a 30-minute window scalping, well, maybe you take 10 to 15 trades capitalizing on all of the smaller price fluctuations. So you're taking a frequency of trades that is 5 to 10-fold what you would on a day trade or day trading basis. And it's really all about volume of trades taken. And typically that is what you'll see is someone is sitting there and entering and exiting, taking high volume amounts of trades throughout potentially the entire day. Now, I was able to scalp when I started out because I started trading Bitcoin, and obviously the crypto market is open 24/7, and so I was able to trade whenever I wanted and whenever I could. Now, I will say, arguably scalping, what I've seen is that traders that scalp are going to have higher win rates. They're going to be winning and having more green days because they're able to continue fighting the market until they come out at the end of the day with a profit. But we're talking very fast-moving charts, very short-term time frames, and you're going to have to be a very, very fast decision maker. Now, I think there's going to be a little less stress from the perspective of losses, as typically if you're scalping, you're going to be limiting your losses. You're going to take very, very, very small losses, but you're also going to take very, very small wins. So it's this accumulation of small wins and small losses over dozens of trades. At the end of the day, you're going to be obviously hoping that your wins are going to outweigh your losses on that day. You're not going to be exposed to aftermarket and pre-market fluctuations and volatility, which is great. Like I said, you're going to have maybe more of a fighting chance at coming out at the end of the day in the green because typically you'll continue trading with your obviously stop loss limit or take profit limit, whatever that number is. You'll probably keep trading until you hit one or the other. Whereas a day trade, you're in, you're out, it goes your way or it doesn't, and you wait until the next day. You're not typically going back into the market and fighting it even more. So really just less downside and less drawdowns. I think swing trading and day trading obviously are the two most common and popular forms of trading. And it's not that you can't do all three. It's not that you can't do two, but really from what I've seen, focus on one, master one, unless you've been trading profitably for at least a year or two, whether it's day trading, scalping, or swing trading. Well, at that point, maybe then you can look into, like I said, trading another style, and you could do a bit of both, day trading, a bit of swing trading. I think it's very hard to do both. I personally don't like to do both at the same time. Now, I will say I've traded stocks, stock options, crypto. I've never traded futures or Forex, but obviously these three styles are going to be applicable to all. There's going to be a little variation there, again, based off of trading options in the stock market with that after hours period of time. But overall, I hope you have now been able to at least gain a little more understanding on kind of what you're going to be faced with as far as when you're looking to start trading, which you probably are right now, and which direction you'd like to take. If it is trading options, swing, day trading, like I said, depending on the year, I might do both from time to time. It just is going to depend on the market and the opportunities that are provided. You'll have access to trade live with me and follow along and copy all my trades. If you do join my mentorship, there's a whole lot more that is included, and I will put a link in the description below. I hope you learned something in this video and subscribe for more. See you in the next one.